Hello, and welcome to the very first episode of This Week in Workforce, a podcast brought to you by Workforce Solutions Northeast Texas. This podcast will feature topics related to workforce development. It'll highlight the efforts of Workforce Solutions Northeast Texas and showcase our partners across the region. My name is Bart Spivey, and I'm joined today by Jeff Clapp. How's it going today, Jeff?
It's going pretty good, Bart. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, no problem. So this is something that you and I have kind of talked about for a while. I think we both had the same idea to do the podcast. We've had a lot of planning, a lot of delays, but here we are, finally recording for the first time. So before we get started, I just want to know, do you listen to podcasts?
I do periodically. There's a couple that I enjoy listening to on treks back and forth.
Yeah, it's really a good way to get information. I listen to quite a bit of podcasts, so hopefully my experience listening to those podcasts will carry over to hosting and help us out. So today on this episode, we're going to tell you who Workforce Solutions Northeast Texas is. We're going to give you an overview of workforce services in the region. If you have questions or anything about any of those services, we're going to cover each of those in more detail on future episodes. So first of all, to kind of explain what the Northeast Texas region is to us, we have a 9-county service area that includes Bowie, Cass, Delta, Franklin, Hopkins, Lamar, Morris, Red River, and Titus counties. So that 9-county area is our service area. We have 4 workforce centers, offices in that region. We have one in Texarkana, Mount Pleasant, Paris, and Silver Springs. And Jeff actually works out of our Texarkana Workforce Center. So Jeff, tell me how you got started in workforce and a little bit about what you do over at the Workforce Center.
Well, I started with the Workforce Center about 12 years ago. So I came in actually looking for unemployment and ended up finding a new career out of it. Kind of looked into it, and it's been very eye-opening since, and very, very helpful, not only to me, but also to where I feel like I'm giving back to the community because of what I'm able to do within the workforce environment also. But I started in the Choices program, actually working as an assistant with them, and then started working with business services and worked the front desk for a little bit, and even worked as a case manager with some of the services we'll be talking about as well. And eventually, because of all that kind of shuffling around and learning all the different programs, I'm able to do what I'm doing now, which is as a data analyst, looking at performance and kind of doing everything more in the background. But I still work up front, still help out up there, and still do what I can to assist everybody in our community.
Right, and so we are there's 28 workforce boards in Texas. We are considered one of the smaller ones, compared to some of the larger areas like Dallas and Houston. So like Jeff mentioned, we wear a lot of hats. We have to learn how to do a lot of roles, not only because we don't have a lot of staff, but to cover for staff and that sort of thing. So that's interesting to hear. I didn't know, how you made your way through that. Did you know about Workforce Solutions or the workforce system before you started working here?
Not really. The only time I'd even stepped foot in one of the Workforce Solutions offices was actually before it was named Workforce Solutions. And that was mainly I had gone with my dad because he had applied for unemployment. And in Texarkana, it used to be downtown. The office used to be downtown. And prior to that, I really didn't know anything other than they handled unemployment. And then once I got started there, I found out we do so much more than that, and actually probably deal less with unemployment than we do with anything else.
Right, and that's kind of probably most people's story who work here. I started not too long after you, 11 years ago. So I knew nothing about Workforce Solutions. I had no interaction with it growing up, with the workforce system. I will say when I started here, I had moved back from Little Rock to Texarkana. I grew up in Texarkana, but I'd moved back to Texarkana in June of that year, and had been looking for work and hadn't really found anything. And I had been offered a position at a local company. I won't say who, but it wasn't the best working hours. It wasn't something I really wanted to do, and I just happened to find the job posting for the job I'm doing now with Workforce Solutions as a business development project manager. And that's kind of morphed over the years, like Jeff said, into other areas. But I turned down the other job offer before even applying or before even interviewing. I had an interview set up with Workforce Solutions, and thankfully it all worked out. I was offered the job, and like I said, been doing it for 11 years and really enjoy it. And like Jeff mentioned, on the surface, Workforce Solutions seems very small, and there's only a few things that people know we do, but there's actually a lot more beyond that people don't realize. And that's what we hope to do with this podcast, and what we hope to do today is kind of hit some of those services, share that information with the residents of Northeast Texas so that they can take advantage of the programs, events, and services that we offer. So first, let's talk a little bit about what services we offer to someone who's looking for a job, or someone we call a job seeker. So Jeff, if I'm looking for a job and I walk into Workforce Solutions Northeast Texas, any of the workforce centers, what can you and the other staff do to help me?
There's actually quite a bit of services we offer to job seekers. A lot of it is more, I guess, kind of self-paced. So it just depends on what you're really needing to do. But we do have, for example, virtual workshops. And we do some of them through Zoom, where you have me interacting with you on that Zoom call and us going over everything that we want to discuss for that particular topic. We do applications, interviews, resumes. Those are the biggest three that we do every month. And a lot of times after we get done with the interview, or the resume workshop rather, we actually give out our business services email address, and they can actually email a copy of their resume for us to review and kind of go over in detail. There's also, like if you walk in the front door, we've got scrolling boards set up. You'll see big giant TV monitors in all the offices, and we're actually working on updating those to where they'll start scrolling through all of our job listings and have advertisements from local employers that are really needing people right now to show up on there, as well as any events we've got coming. We also have an online training website that you can go to. It's through netxworkforce.skillupamerica.org, and it's in partnership with Metrics Learning that you'll hear us talk about again. But there's a catalog there of well over 4,000 courses. So it's kind of all self-paced, so you can kind of go through those as you need. That's even something you can do at the Workforce Center, because every Workforce Center has computers and a printer and copier and everything available. So you could actually go through some of these courses there if you don't have a computer at home or access to a smartphone or something like that to be able to do any of this on. So,
right. So the Metrics Learning, that is something that is fairly new, and it's through a partnership with the Texas Workforce Commission and Metrics Learning. They have now offered free online courses to anybody in Texas. You can sign up for free, take as many courses as you would like for free. Some of those courses are kind of part of a pathway, if you will, towards a certification, towards an industry certification. And there is a cost to those certification exams, because they're not part of the metrics. They're part of the whatever governing body is offering the exam. But we will say that for eligible individuals, the Texas Workforce Commission has funding to pay for those exam costs. So if you're thinking about Metrics Learning, but you don't want to go through it and then not be able to take the exam, talk to us. We can let you know. Our staff, Jeff, and the other staff at the Workforce Center can let you know if you would be eligible to have those exam costs covered once you finish the training portion of it. That's really metrics learning. You mentioned the virtual workshops. We have really, like everybody else over the past couple of years, have had to really ramp up our virtual service offerings, which we've been pretty successful at with the workshops and the metrics learning and some of our training videos that we have on our website. Have a lot of things you can do from your computer at home, or like Jeff mentioned, if you don't have access to a computer, come to the Workforce Center. We have computers there for you to use. So I know you mentioned we help. What sort of events? I know we do a lot of job fairs. What does a job fair in Northeast Texas look like, and what should if somebody's never been to a job fair, what do they need to know before coming to one of those?
The job fairs are huge. Well, usually our biggest events. Let me put it that way, and that's just because in the Texarkana area, we usually have 2 large ones each year, and then we do one in all the other offices each year. So the Texarkana ones, we average about 80 to 100 employers and community agencies that come to it. And we have, in past years, we'll have 300-400 job seekers come through. And it's very beneficial to a lot of those employers and the job seekers as well, especially them, because they can come in and they can talk to these employers and see what's available. The employer's able to put a face with a name because, like we've talked about with technology and everybody ramping that up, it's kind of gone away, or it's kind of gone to the wayside where employers don't really get that face-to-face communication with the job seeker. So that's one area where the job fairs really come in handy. They're able to put that face with a name and see that person. We've had some employers that'll do interviews right there and want to go ahead and hire people right at the job fair. And then a lot of others will say, okay, here's the information. Make sure you note this on the application so we can see it and we'll get to it. But they'll specifically go back and look for some of those job seekers they've interacted with at the job fair. So it kind of gives you a leg up to get into there. Instead of you just being a name on the computer, you're that face and that person they talk to now. So in a lot of our other offices in Mount Pleasant, Sulphur Springs, and Paris, when we have job fairs there, you're looking at probably around 50 employers at each one that are there, just because community is a little bit smaller than the Texarkana area. But, I mean, you still end up with the same 200 to 300 to 400 job seekers coming. So it's always a big draw for job seekers and for employers to get their name out.
Right, and you mentioned employers there, and that kind of transitions us to the next topic we want to talk about. We have, we consider employers our number one customer, and if we help them, that only helps our job seekers and our other customers as well. So we want to help employers find qualified individuals to fill the job openings that they have. We have a team called the Business Services Unit. Jeff used to be a part of that. Still does, probably on a part-time basis. But they actually spend every day talking to employers, helping them post jobs. We have a few staff that actually go out to employer locations and talk about our services. But we really have a good network of employers in Northeast Texas to help people get employed. But also, like I said, to help the employers fill their open positions, to help them continue their operations and be competitive. So, Jeff, as a former / current BSU Business Services Unit member, what are some of the other services that we offer to employers?
Well, the biggest thing that we do is through workintexas.com, and that's, like you kind of said, it hits both the employers and the job seekers. So, because without one, we wouldn't have the other. So, right. But that's the first thing we kind of push is we'll get them an account in there. That way we can kind of track everything that needs to be done for that employer. We can post positions. We can set them up an account where they can actually go in and review resumes of job seekers. We can also do it to where we actually post the positions and we manage everything for them. So all they have to do is just email us a job description and how they want them to apply, and we can take it from there. So we kind of were able to hit a lot of stuff with that. We can send them copies of resumes for potential job seekers. We can have it posted to where only staff can see it if the employer doesn't want that posting out for everybody. Because, there's some of those popular employers that if they have one opening, they may have 200 people apply. And it's hard for many HR professionals to go through 200 resumes. But if we've got it, we can steadily reach out and kind of help out and find those people that are qualified before them having to screen through everything. So it can actually be a time saver to the HR departments to have us go in and post the positions and refer people. We can even accept applications in-house. We can set up events for employers to where they can come into the workforce center and do interviews and everything. A good example of that, we just had one employer that's been coming the last few months that they do the full gambit. They accept the application, they do the interview at the workforce center, and then they even do a drug screening. And they'll let a person know by the time they get the results back from the drug screening whether or not they're hired. So,
right, and that's really something I feel like has taken off over the last year or so. These in-house, these job fairs that we do for a single employer. So we do the big ones. We do the big community-wide job fairs, of course, usually at the convention center or civic center in the town. But we also do, like Jeff said, we have employers in to do just single employer hiring events at our workforce centers, and that helps them a number of ways. Some employers, they're not really set up to have a lot of people come into their facility at one time for a job fair, for a hiring event. They may not have the parking, or it may not work out with their security and their setup. So we offer these at the workforce center. A lot of people know where the workforce centers are. We got plenty of parking, plenty of computers. Our staff can even help promote the event, can help run the event and things of that nature. So it's really a good thing for employers to take advantage of, to get a lot of applicants in a short amount of time, as opposed to over several weeks. So a really good service that we offer to employers looking to make a number of hires. We mentioned it before, but I'll do it again. The Metrics Learning Program is we mentioned it for job seekers, but can also help employers. Employers can sign up their existing employees and actually have them train on things related to their job to help them build skills in a job or to learn a new skill. So if an employer is interested, they can definitely contact us at the website and let us know what they're interested in, and we can talk them through that. And I know Jeff knows more about this, but Jeff, talk to us about what an OJT is and how that can help both an employer and a job seeker.
Right. The OJT are also on-the-job training. We've got kind of two versions of this program. With the on-the-job training side, we can basically reimburse an employer for 50% of the salary for up to the first 90 days that the employee's working for them. It could be less than 90 days, depending on what that employee has done before. So, like if you had just an example, a truck driver that came in and you're wanting him to be a truck driver for you, because of the difference in the entity that he's working for, there might be different paperwork, there might be different equipment connected in the rig or something like that. He may need a little bit of training to learn your process. So we wouldn't be able to pay the full 90 days for that. But if it was a brand new truck driver, someone that had never done the job for anyone before, that might be an instance where we can cover that first 90 days and everything. But then we've also got one that's subsidized employment that kind of goes along with that, where we pay 100%. We foot the bill for everything, workman's comp, insurance, the 100% of the wages, but it's usually for a more specialized group. So if they meet certain criteria, then we can do that for that first 90 days for them as well.
Okay. Yeah, really good program. A lot of our employers really like the OJT program that we offer. We've been very successful with that. I will mention that the OJT and the subsidized employment programs are for eligible customers only. It's not open to everybody. eligible job seekers, I should say. But really, a really good way for employers to offset some of the costs when hiring a new employee, because as we know, a new employee's usually not as productive during their training period. They're still trying to learn the job and ramp up to full production. So this kind of helps offset some of those costs when they're not as productive during those first few weeks as they learn the job and get acclimated to their new their work environment. So a really good program for our employers. And before we move on to our next group, I'm going to stop just quickly and remind everybody the best way to access information about any of the things we're talking about here, or to access our virtual workshops, learn about upcoming job fairs, is to visit our website, netxworkforce.org. That's netxworkforce.org. Go there. You can also connect to our social media channels from there. Really, the one place you need to go if you have questions about anything to do with Workforce Solutions Northeast Texas, you can probably find it there. And if you can't, you can find our phone numbers and email addresses and addresses to our workforce centers to get some more information that way. So moving on to our next group of our customer group and our services we offer, we're going to talk about youth services. And I know Jeff has a son who was recently a teen, and I have a teenage son. So we both kind of know firsthand how these services can really benefit anyone transitioning from high school to after high school, whether you go to work, whether you go to a local community college or off to university. There's a lot of unknowns at that point in life, and a lot of the services, a lot of our youth services are designed to really help students understand the opportunities that are out there. So, Jeff, kind of like we did with the job seeker, if I'm a youth and I come to the Workforce Center, if I get on our website, what can Workforce Solutions do to help me out?
Well, we do have quite a few options on the website that you can go through. There's a section for just youth on there that can address a lot of questions and let you get into a lot of different fields to kind of see what's out there. But when you come into the Workforce Center, we'll usually let you sit down with one of our case managers, and they'll be able to go over kind of what you're looking for. I mean, if there's a certain career path you're wanting to go down, we can look at your situation and see if you're eligible to where maybe we can assist with training, or we can get you into maybe a shadowing opportunity, or kind of one of the OJTs we talked about a second ago, to where we can hopefully help you get further on down that line. One program that's been very successful that we just recently kind of wrapped up for this year was our Summer Earn and Learn program, or it's called the SEAL program. We partner with vocational rehab and work with their youth clients, and we place them with employers that are within their field that they're interested in, or we try to, at least, if there's some out there. A lot of youth right now, they want to be video game streamers and stuff, and we've got a limited supply of those available. Right. So, not to say it's not out there, it's just it's not on every corner right now. So, but with that, we get people into those positions, and they end up learning a skill. They end up getting connected with employers in the area. We've had a few every year that have wanted to say they want to keep that person, or they want them to come back next year, or they want them to work part-time during school instead of losing them. So it's a great stepping stone for that person, or for that youth as well, because when you have someone that can help kind of guide you, even if it's our case managers or if it's that employer that we are able to connect you with, then you end up with that mentor that gets you on the right path earlier on, and you end up succeeding a whole lot faster than what you would on your own sometimes.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And it's been a while, but I can remember back being that age and not really knowing what's available, what's out there. Having some guidance from my parents, from the school, from things like that. But these services we offer and our staff are there just that, to help kind of guide someone along, answer questions, help them, whether it's fill out forms or just explore the opportunities that are available in Northeast Texas. There's some really good services that can help these students. One of the programs we offer, one of our most exciting programs, it's fairly new. It's our Career and Education Outreach Specialist program. That's a mouthful, but a couple years ago in 2019, we were one of 7 workforce boards in the state of Texas to be approved for this program. It was an application that we sent in, and we were one of 7 approved. This allowed us to hire staff members who work directly in the school districts in Northeast Texas. So every day of the week, these staff are in the schools talking to students, helping them prepare, like we said, kind of guiding them along for life after high school. They work with students one-on-one to talk about careers. They, in college programs, they make presentations to large groups of students on high-demand careers. And probably the most talked about aspect of this program was a recent purchase of some virtual reality headsets. We were able to get some of these headsets, the software that goes with them, and our outreach specialists take those to the schools, and students can use them to virtually explore careers like welding or front office staff, things of that nature. It gives them it's kind of a cool technology, so the students are really into it, and it's a way to engage them into a discussion about careers that they might not normally be, receptive to. So it's a good way to kind of bridge that gap. I will say one of our, probably our next episode, we're going to have one of our career and education outreach specialists join us. I don't know if he knows that yet, but he's going to join us to talk about that. And I'm really excited to learn. I kind of know the overview of the program, but to hear from him what a day-to-day what he does daily with these students, some of the questions he gets, and things of that nature. So in addition to that, just like our job fairs, we have events, big events for our students, not necessarily a job fair, but a couple of what we would call career exploration events. One of those we've been doing for several years is the LEAP Expo, and that stands for Learning Endorsements and Professions. And it's for 8th grade students in the area. And if you're not aware, 8th graders have to make an endorsement decision prior to going to high school. And the endorsement it's kind of like a pathway for them, and it outlines some of the coursework they'll be doing over the next 4 years that they're in high school. So the LEAP Expo brings in area employers and colleges, and it allows those students to talk with them and kind of learn how their interests relate to careers and what careers are out there. We know 8th graders aren't ready to make that decision, right? They don't know, what career they want to go into, most of them. But this helps them kind of align those interests with the career options, with that endorsement decision before they go into high school. Been a really successful program for us. We usually have about, across 3 or 4 events each year, we usually have around 2,500 8th grade students go through that. So it's been very successful and hopefully beneficial. Another one that we recently started is what we're calling a Future Forward event. And this is similar to LEAP, but it's for high school seniors. And we're focusing on those seniors that might not have a full plan of what they want to do after high school. So, they're either going to go to work or they might go to a local community college. And we had one earlier this year, a couple of them earlier this year. In these events, we have a keynote speaker that comes in, and he talks about leadership and how that can propel you throughout your career. But we also have a number of breakout sessions, including interview tips, communication, resume writing, job search. And I know Jeff has done a few of these, so I'm interested. I haven't sit in on these sessions, so I'm interested to know what it's like and what are some of the questions you get while you're talking to these high school seniors.
Right. And the neat thing about this is you get all the kids from every area. It's not just a certain group of kids. Like it's not the most high performing, it's not the least performing. It's everybody that's there, and that's the best part of it. Really, is you get that dynamic within the classroom when you're talking with them, or the breakout sessions rather, and it's just neat hearing some of the stories from some of the kids about what they've done, what they haven't done, what they're looking forward to doing, and everything. So you always get those that say, I want to be the next football star, or I want to be the next basketball star. But what's funny is a lot of times the kids next to them will be like, you ain't good enough for that. So
a lot of future NFLers in those
Right.
sessions, right? Yeah.
Right. But it's always interesting to hear that. Some of the questions we get the most is, well, I've never worked before, so why do I need to build a resume? And either way, you're still trying, if you're putting a resume out there, you're trying to get the employer's attention. So you always want to make sure you use those things that you've done in school. If you were a section leader in band, if you were a team captain, if you were a team player even, any of those things, those all count because they can help. They can show that you're able to work together with others. They can show that you're able to lead others if you need to. It shows that you're willing to put in some effort, put in some work that needs to be done in order to get something quality out of it. Because even if you're playing football, you don't just show up the day of the game. You practice beforehand. So, and that's kind of where the resume and the interviewing classes and stuff come into play too, is you're practicing before you go to that big game, which is the interview. So, and hopefully onto that job. So,
Right. That's a good point. And going back to my own experience, I didn't know, how to prepare for an interview. In my first interview, I'd never had one, right, or never written a resume. So a lot of these events and our programs are designed to prepare these students for that, so that they're ready for that first interview, for that first job, or even if they plan to go to college, how to navigate those waters. So it's really a supplement to a lot of the work that goes on in our school districts, and we want to be there to not take the place of those schools, but to just help them and help the students along the way. I'll mention real quickly a couple of programs we have on our website that anyone can access. One is a virtual job shadow. It is a library of, I think at this point, over 200 career videos. So you can go to our website under the youth section and access this, and you can search any number of career videos and learn about a career through someone who's actually doing that career. It's basically a bunch of interviews with people that work in that career. You can learn about, their daily jobs, what they do, how they got there, what they like, what they don't like, that sort of thing. So a good source for students who might have an idea of what they want to do. They can learn more about it, or for somebody that doesn't know, they can, just explore that resource and learn about a lot of different careers. And then Career Connection Spotlight, again, under our youth tab. This is a video series that we're doing spotlighting employers in Northeast Texas. We interview them and we ask them about their hiring practices and entry-level positions, what a day working for them looks like, how to succeed in that job. Really just information for anybody really looking for a job, but really specifically for those students to kind of get a better understanding of how to approach the job search process, the interview process, and then the work process once you hopefully are hired by a local employer. So a lot of good resources again on our website. And we will keep transitioning younger. We've started with job seekers and worked our way to youth, and we're going to go even younger now. So most people aren't aware that Workforce Solutions Northeast Texas and the workforce system in Texas in general has a very robust child care program. And what that means is we have funding to help subsidize the child care costs for eligible customers in our area. We can help pay for those child care costs. If you're eligible, again, there are requirements for that, but if somebody meets those eligibility requirements and they're either working or going to school, this money can help offset the cost of childcare, and in addition, help them have the peace of mind to know that their child is in a quality childcare environment. We average about 1,800 kids in care each day throughout our 9 counties. In addition to the paying for or help subsidizing the childcare cost, one of the most important things we do is to help raise the quality of our childcare providers in the region. We have funding that can raise that quality through purchases like curriculum or technology to help providers improve in those areas. But we can also provide outdoor equipment, playground equipment, things of that nature. And then we also have staff who actually work kind of like our workforce specialists work with the schools. We have staff that work directly with our child care providers, and they're there to help those providers upgrade their curriculum. They can assist with staff training, identify areas for improvement, and really just help them become a better facility, provide better services, and help them along the way. So really a lot of work and effort goes into childcare in Northeast Texas, and a lot of people aren't aware of it. I know Jeff mentioned earlier that when they have classes and people come in, they talk to them about it, but unless you've been, actually part of the childcare program or knew somebody that was part of it, probably didn't realize that was a service offered by Workforce Solutions Northeast Texas. So
one of the cool things with the child care program too is you're able to choose your own provider. So you're not stuck with a particular one, because almost every provider that's in the Northeast Texas area is part of our program as well too. You can even use relatives if they want to be a part of the program as well. There's of course more paperwork and more eligibility to go through for that, right. But it's really a unique program in my mind because, like I say, you're not limited to just one or two employers.
Right. Yeah, and it's one of the best things, the most impactful things that we do. We kind of like to think that we impact and educate people from in childcare all the way up through when they're working. So childcare, in-school students, out-of-school students, workers. We really have a vast variety of services that can impact really anyone. So again, I'll mention the best way to learn about these services, to attend our virtual workshops, to learn more about childcare, to apply for childcare, to view our youth service videos, career exploration videos, and to learn about events. Best way to do that, go to our website, netxworkforce.org. So as we wrap this up, just let you know that we plan to cover a variety of topics on this podcast. I know we kind of hit an overview today, and we'll do each of these topics in more detail in the future. Plus, we'll have on special guests. We'll have local employers on, and some of our other partners in education and things like that. So if you're currently a worker or you're looking for a job, you're a parent, a student, you own your own business, you're an employer, or you just want to learn about workforce services, please join us for future episodes where we'll dive deeper into some of these things. So, Jeff, before we close this out, do you have anything else to add?
There's just a few things. Even if you're not in a county that we have a workforce center in, there are kiosks at a lot of the public libraries as well that you can access our website. You can access some of our services virtually as well. So we can help you no matter really where you're at in our community. The other thing is it goes the same with employers. You don't have to be in the county that our office is in. We come to you if you need us to. If you've got an on-site event that you want to do at your location and you know you won't have enough staff and you'd like the support of the Workforce Center, we can come and we can help you actually put on that event if need be. So just feel free to reach out to us if you have any needs. We've got a couple job fairs and events coming up in the next few months, and we'll talk more about those in future podcasts as well.
Absolutely. Excellent information there, Jeff. Glad you pointed that out. We our 9 counties, we only have the 4 workforce centers like we mentioned, but we do have staff that can go out to those counties. We're trying to do a lot of virtual services that can impact those counties and save somebody a trip from driving to a workforce center. So really good stuff there. So I'll wrap up today by saying thank you to those that are listening. Again, this was our first episode. We're excited to see where this goes. You can find This Week in Workforce, this podcast, on your favorite podcast platform, or you can watch the video version on YouTube. Please hit subscribe, leave us a message. If there's certain topics you want to hear more about, let us know. Again, we plan to cover these in more detail, but if there's something specific you want to know about, let us know, and we'll make sure to cover that. So, and then that's it. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening.